It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of November 6, 1992. We got 5 movies to look at today, so let's go ahead and jump right on into it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Wesley Snipes starring in Passenger 57. Or you could pretty much call this Die Hard on an Airplane, which it's pretty much just that. But it's kind of similar to Under Siege in a way, but unlike Under Siege, which was actually kind of fun for what it was, I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. A lot of people really like it. I think it's a so bad it's good type of movie. But I never thought it was any good. Honestly, it was a movie that when I saw it the first time, I was really let down by it because it wasn't really. This was too. I thought it was too stupid for its own good. Like there are so many elements about this movie that are so wrong. Like you have a hardened criminal on a plane with regular civilians. Like why would you do that? Like why would you put them on a why would you put a captive terrorist on a commercial airline flight where this type of thing could happen? And it's just like that from the get-go made no sense whatsoever. But just everything else in between with the rest of this movie, honestly, just really it just didn't work for me. It's a movie that I just feel like I get what they're going for. Like I said, it's trying to be Die Hard on an Airplane, but that was done a lot better, actually twice in '97 when you really think about it, with Air Force One, which is a great movie, Con Air, which is a great so bad it's good action movie, and I'll give Wesley Snipes some credit here. He does show a lot of charisma as an action hero, and at least he does have some good fun lines in here. Like, of course, you hear the line "Always been on black," which is it's a cheesy line, but he makes it work. But as far as the rest of the movie goes, I just never really got into it. I didn't find this bad guy threatening. I thought the whole situation was just it made it way too easy for him to do for the bad guy to have his plan here, and the fact that he didn't plan on this other guy, the Wesley Snipes character, to somehow beat him in the end. Like, you should have seen this coming, dude. All the signs were pointing in that direction, but that's just my thinking. I know this movie has a loyal fan base. It was a big hit when it came out. I'm just not one of those people that really liked it, unfortunately. So that's pretty much all I got for you on Passenger 57. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Jennifer 8. Honestly, you can look at this movie and really see a lot of potential that's there, because there is a lot of potential here. They've got a great cast here. You've got Andy Garcia, Uma Thurman, John Malkovich in the supporting role that I really didn't think he'd be at this point. He had been a prolific actor up to this point. I didn't think he'd take on a role like this, but it was interesting to see him in there. But when you watch the movie itself, though, you could definitely tell that they just went with the first script that they got, and they didn't bother to do any rewrites. They didn't bother to do anything of noteworthiness to fix it, but it just didn't work. It's a movie that has some potential to it, has a good angle to it, but it just ends up being like a typical cliched riddle mess of a mystery. The mystery aspect here is not really all that exciting, and the movie suffers because of it. The director of this, Bruce Robinson, said himself that the film was hurt by studio interference. There was like 4 different heads of the studio at the time. They all wanted different things. The worst thing happened before they made the movie, where they had Andy Garcia on the movie. He didn't write it for a handsome lead. He wrote it for like a shaggy old cop like Gene Hackman or Al Pacino. And they made him, and they really messed it up because the studio just basically said, we want to get these hot young actors in here and not do an old time thriller, which shows in the movie that the story doesn't make a whole lot of sense whatsoever. And this movie was so bad that the director actually said he would never work in Hollywood again, even though he would later make The Rum Diary almost 20 years later, which was also a huge commercial and critical failure, but that was for another reason altogether, because that movie just wasn't very good. That was the one with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard in it. But this movie just didn't work. The mystery is not all that exciting. These characters are not really well written. The twist is not that exciting whatsoever. It's a bland movie that just didn't work on any level, shape, or form, and it really suffers because of it. That's my thoughts on Jennifer 8. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Anthony Hopkins in The Efficiency Expert, aka Spotswood. So other than Anthony Hopkins in here, a lot of other notable names in here. Ben Mendelsohn, of course, from Rogue One. He's also in Captain Marvel. You also see Toni Collette is in this movie. Russell Crowe. This is an Australian-based film. It looks pretty funny, but it's one I haven't seen, so I can't really comment on it too much. But the trailer definitely gives a lot of promise to it. It is fun to see Anthony Hopkins in more of a comedic role where he's not embarrassing himself, but it looks legitimately funny. It looks like something that could be very interesting. I really don't have much more to say on it because I haven't seen it, but this cast certainly has me interested in checking it out one day, so maybe I'll do that one time. But that's The Efficiency Expert, also Spotswood. I guess Spotswood's what it was called overseas, but let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Becoming Colette. So this is a biography about the life of Sidonie Gabrielle Colette. Apparently she was a French writer, actress, and journalist. Again, that's pretty much all I know because I have not seen this movie. I really don't know anything about this particular person. But you see Klaus Marie Brandauer's in here, Matilda May, Virginia Madsen. Danny Huston directed this movie. If you don't know who Danny Huston is, you've definitely seen him before in other movies. You've seen him in the first Wonder Woman film. He was also in... I had the name in my head, and now I completely forgot about it. X-Men Origins Wolverine. He's been in other movies: Game Night, Big Eyes, Hitchcock, Wrath of the Titans, Clash of the Titans. You've seen him all over the place. You would see it. If you got a good look at his face, you would definitely know who it is. But I didn't know he directed this movie, and that's pretty much all I know about it. I can't even go to Wikipedia to actually get the information because if you go there and look for this movie up, it's not on there. You have to go to a French version of the Wikipedia page to figure it out. And even on there, there's not a whole lot there to talk about with this movie. So I really don't know too much about this movie, and I can't say anything else about it because I haven't seen it. I can't really comment on it. But that's all I can tell you about Becoming Colette, honestly. Let's go ahead and move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is Flirting. I mean, it pretty much sums up everything that you need to know about this movie right here. It's a coming-of-age teen drama. You've got Noah Taylor, who's best known as the dad from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Tandy Newton is in here. Nicole Kidman's in here. Naomi Watts is in this movie. I mean, honestly, I haven't seen this movie. I can't say too much about it, but I think that trailer pretty much gives you an indication of what this movie is, like what this movie is going to be like. And it really could be, and I think it could be something enjoyable. Like, most coming-of-age movies usually are very well done, and I have no reason to believe that this movie in particular isn't going to be very good. This is also notable for being one of the last Nicole Kidman movies that she made in an Australian-produced film before she made the transition to Hollywood. And then, of course, down the road, she would come back to it when she worked with Baz Luhrmann. And then, yeah. I mean, you can definitely see the early works of Tandy Newton, Nicole Kidman, and Naomi Watts here, as well as Noah Taylor, even though the only thing I really know him from is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but I think he was also in, he was also on Game of Thrones. He's also in the movie Shy. He played Preacher, Adolf Hitler in the show Preacher, and then in the movie Max. He was also in Tomb Raider, Life Aquatic. He's been all over the place, but mostly I remember him from both Game of Thrones and also Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So, I mean, this movie could be very good. I haven't seen it. I can't really comment on it too much. So, that's pretty much all I got to say about Flirting. So, with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, 5 more movies to look at. Some notable movies, including Francis Ford Coppola's adaptation of Dracula. We also have Traces of Red. Sandra Bullock and Tate Goldwyn in Love Potion #9. The limited release of Disney's Aladdin. This came out this weekend. It came out this weekend in a select number of theaters before it eventually went wide a couple weeks later. And also Tous les matins du monde. I don't know what that is, so that pretty much gives you an idea of how I feel about that movie. But it should be very quick when we talk about it next time. But we'll do that next time. But until then, thank you very much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.